Hello, welcome to Soccer Yanks, a soccer news day podcast. I'm your host, Dave.
And I am the other host. Am I a co-host? Am I an equal host? Am I also a host?
We're co-hosts.
We're co-hosts. We're equal hosts. We're both hosts. I don't know how that works. I'm Dan.
Hosts. This is Easter coming up. A lot of hosts going around. Oh, that's a Catholic joke. Anyway.
I am your host, Dan. And we are going to try to tonight somehow bring you the American perspective on the beautiful game. Dave, did you happen to see the big one this weekend?
The Liverpool City game? Yeah, it started out with incredible chills. Watching them sing the You'll Never Walk Alone for the 96, then the moment of silence.
Yes, it was the 25th anniversary of the Hillsborough tragedy. Justice for the 96 was the was it 96 25 or something like that, the banner, the big tifo that they put up.
Yes.
It was moving. The moment of silence was, a lot of times the moment of silence has been I don't want to say overused, because people receive a moment of silence for a variety of reasons, but this one kind of felt really respected.
Yeah.
There was
the atmosphere was incredible. Like, you could feel it coming from the TV. From when they went for the You Never Walk Alone straight through from when they started the game.
I would say, sometimes people say, what's home field advantage? What's that value? I would say Exhibit A.
Yeah.
You could use that match. Exhibit
Absolutely.
A. This is what home field advantage is like. Heard there was a wonderful 30 for 30. I DVR'd it, but I have not watched it.
Yeah, no, I'm studying video production right now, and I hope to one day be as good as what they put together, be on a team like that, what they put together. It just sucked me right in, and my heart was pounding the entire time. I never I got so emotional from anything ESPN's ever put out. Or on TV. I mean, it was the from start to finish. The way they set the picture with the whole situation, with what happened at the police department leading up to it. What had happened in 1981? There was a crush. There was injuries, but I don't think anyone died. But there was no
changes were
correction.
made.
Yeah.
Right.
So it started off with that, and it painted the picture. And if you haven't, I don't want to give anything away. If you haven't seen it, definitely put it on your list and check out. There's a ton of other 30 for 30 documentaries coming out leading up to the World Cup. There's one on Maradona. There's one on the
pass.
Yeah, no, I think it was handball.
Zing.
There's one on Garacha. Am I pronouncing that right?
Gahisha.
Okay. Coutinho.
Yeah. There's a bunch. But
anyway, moving on back to the Liverpool game. Set your DVR is what I was.
I think it's on again this Sunday. If you did miss it the first time, but I DVR'd it. I'm hopefully
I'm sure they'll play.
Get
again.
2 hours free soon.
If that doesn't win an award, I don't know what should. Like Emmy.
There is no soul in this world if that does not win something.
I don't think they can win an Emmy. It's on cable. Golden Globe, maybe.
Golden Globe.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever.
Sport documentary?
Something.
They'll win it, whatever it is.
They'll give themselves an ESPY.
They'll definitely get that.
Okay, let's get right in. Let's get into the
Liverpool game.
The match. Okay, so Liverpool, with this emotion that we were talking about, comes out to a roaring start.
Sterling, what was that? Insanity.
I gotta say,
that was. I thought I was watching FIFA.
Sterling was great, but he was great. You can't take anything away. You would think that Joe Hart would put himself in a better position, though,
They both took the bait. They both went left at the same time.
You would just think that Joe Hart would put himself in a better position. Not that Sterling wouldn't have scored anyway, but you would think he'd put himself in a better position to defend that ball. Give your defender a chance to do something for you. I don't know. Okay, then I think the highest scoring defender of the season, the man that really ran out of money and couldn't buy another vowel for his last name, Skirtle. I got a lot to say about Skrtel. We'll get to it though. He put in he flicked on a header, I believe.
It was a nice header. It was pitch perfect from a set piece.
He's very dangerous in both boxes.
It's pretty cool. I like what they do. Gerard and Coutinho, they switch off either side. They always take turns. It's never the same. And whoever is the off out of the two is always making some sort of a movement that opens up something.
No, the front front five players of Liverpool, they're outstanding. They've been outstanding all season.
The way they work together is incredible.
Brendan Rodgers got a fine-tuned offense, attack.
Definitely. They play like a championship team should play, and there's a reason they're in first place.
There's definitely a reason they're in first place. 19th minute, Yaya Toure comes off. His leg was so offended by the sheer ugliness of the shot that it decided, I'm taking you out. It was ugly. I don't know. He wound up funny. He cranked a little bit. It looked like the ball was kind of underneath him and behind him.
He got angry,
and then he just launched one into atmosphere somewhere, and then all of a sudden, he's grabbing. I read 10 to 15 days, but then I also heard potentially the rest of the season. I don't know.
There's a lot of stories.
Does not look good for Yaya Toure.
And City.
And City in general. So going into the half, Liverpool 2-0. I think they got into the locker room. They may have potentially started to take a couple of drinks at halftime. I think they may have felt that this one was in the bag. And then they came out second half, and David Silva put City on his shoulders and said, we're not going out that easy. And he put it bang, bang.
That was nasty. Bang,
bang. And to be honest with you, I thought City came out second half, came out direct, came out forward. They came out direct, but they kept it they went to the flanks. The flanks started to work. Milner, oddly, which I think the Cro-Magnon man usually does nothing but make the team go negative. He solidified that midfield, and City had something going. I feel like they got once they tied it up, they got a little tentative. And you could see the nerves because Company, what was that? That slice, he had time to chest the ball and get it out. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, it looked like a Sunday afternoon guy. Like that's what the guys do in my pickup game. You know what I mean? That's how I score my goals.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm always that poacher that's just hanging out by the post and someone whiffs at a ball. I mean, don't get me wrong. Coutinho's his finish, that was a hard finish.
Oh God,
that was hard to score that goal. It was not a.
But
it was on a platter too, though.
Yeah, the Coutinho got to give his plate back to Company for that one. He served it up.
So, and that's how it ended. It ended at 3-2.
And Liverpool had to have won that game. Not that they had to, but they should have. Just for the whole message and all that. And I think the way that the crowd got behind them.
Well, let's talk about
when Man City capitalized was really the only 10-minute stretch that Liverpool kind of shut off. They weren't really, to me. It was kind of back and forth, but for me, I thought Liverpool were in control of that game most of the time.
I would say it's a tale of two halves. I would say first half Liverpool completely dominated, and I would say in the second half, two things happened. One, the home field advantage. I think the official was swayed by he was swayed by the crowd. There was some calls. I mean, it's over, it's done, but. I mean, Skrtel had a clear punch on a clearance. He punched the ball out. I mean, I know it was kind of crowded, but and it wasn't like, I'm captain. Your hand's in a natural position. It's not a handball. When it's over your head, and you're obviously playing goalkeeper. I mean,
I didn't see the play. I didn't see the whole game.
So. And I don't think I think what you're saying about Liverpool in the second half, that third goal completely took City was still on the front foot, and I think that goal completely just demoralized them.
The play and the goal, the whole situation,
the way that it came about, right?
Because it wasn't just
it was against the grain of play.
It was a clearance that went to Company, and he tried to clear the clearance. It was a weird bounce or something like that. And
So I mean,
it was a demoralizing situation that deflated them.
I
But
agree.
The game was over.
I mean, we
and they needed to win that game. City.
both needed to win that game.
Yeah.
And I would say that and anyone that disagrees, all champions do get the bounce in their favor.
Oh yeah, you have
They need to. That's the only way it's going to go. It's being good, being great, and also getting those 50-50s end up falling your way. Speaking of the 50-50s, there's a couple of issues with the game that I wanted your input on. Sometime in the first half, Sacco came in on Dzeko in the box. I mean, he came in like a bull, just going. He completely missed the ball. Dzeko moved the ball out of the way. He also, he stumbled a bit, but he avoided the tackle. But he never was able to recover the ball. Ended up going out for a goal kick. Now, does Dzeko have to sacrifice his health? Like, does he have to stay there and take that hit from Sacco? Or with a player maybe like Suarez or Neymar or Messi or Busquets or 1,000 other guys that are labeled as divers, they would have taken a bit of contact and fell over, and they would have got that was definitely going to be a penalty. I mean, it was clear as day. Sacco had no business doing what he did. Now, no one is Dzeko gets nothing other than missing out on a penalty
on that game, on the day.
Yeah, on the day. But what I'm getting at is because the ref maybe doesn't have the ability to say, hey, that was a potentially very dangerous play, but it didn't end up being dangerous.
No, but
what I'm saying is that's one of the reasons why people dive, because they're not going to get the call if they try to avoid the tackle.
Well, I think my response to that is it all depends on the player, and it's that if those players have reputations, so they're going to get the divers. Did you watch Copa del Rey or any of the Copa del Rey?
A bit.
Angel Di Maria is a notorious diver in La Liga. Did not get one call the entire game. Was flopping all over the place. The refs know who's going to dive. If these players, Dzeko, maybe he wants to be the player who, when he plays, he's going to stay up and he's going to keep on his feet, and the refs will realize that about him throughout his career, and they do. And just like the refs and you and I realize that Suarez is a diver. If that's the style of game that they're going to play, that's what they're going to play. And it benefits, I think, in the long run, the players who can put up with it mentally, like Dzeko, getting hit and staying up and keeping on his feet. I think as a player, he'll be able to hold his head up high, sleep on his pillow. It means more to him. I don't think it means the dive. I don't think that means it.
I don't think
diving isn't necessarily part of everybody's game or has to be. It can be a part of somebody's game if they want it to be.
I think you're taking a very, very noble approach to this. But I think in 3 weeks, no one's going to remember that Dzeko avoided a tackle, and they're just going to remember that City got beat.
You and I, yeah. But the referees, when they go out next year, and he's still in the league, or when he plays wherever he plays next, he's going to have a reputation, just like the other players have a negative reputation. But we don't talk about the positive reputations. We only talk about the negative reputations.
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point. I mean, you're also giving the officials a lot of credit. I don't give them that much credit.
You don't think they remember who the divers are and who
sure.
the
No.
people who stay up?
I'm sure. I think they remember who the divers are. I don't think they remember who the stand-up dudes are. I think it's just like you and I. It's easier to remember the negative.
True.
But I don't think Clattenburg is going to remember. You know what? Dzeko could have embellished a couple of times, or could have embellished that time, and he didn't. And now when he gets tackled, he's like, "Well, I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt." I mean, that's what essentially is what you're saying. That some guys will get the benefit of the doubt, while someone like Luis Suarez literally needs to get a boot in the middle of his chest before he's going to get a penalty call anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's a job. It's still they're referees in the English Premier League, but it's still a job. And just like any other job, you remember the nice people and the good people. You definitely remember the bad people, but you definitely know who the good people are.
That's a good point. Speaking of diving, I mean, you were a big and I was too. I would say we were both pretty hung up on Suarez and his newfound love in the Premier League. You know, he was playing well. The diving was less of an issue, or the dives that did occur where you were like, okay, that was not bad. You know, like the guy, somebody left a lazy leg. You know, they kind of deserved it. You know, they poked at him, whatever. Over the course of the last few weeks, what do you think? What about did you see the awful, disgusting dive that he should have been booked for and sent off because it would have been a second yellow?
Like I said, I was in and out.
It was awful. It was miserable, and it's going to give Liverpool a tough time. It's going to bite them in the butt when they need a real penalty, and they're not going to get it because of that. Like we were talking about, the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So Liverpool wins. They're technically in they're in the driver's seat, all right, as they say, the driver's seat. Chelsea on the weekend, they also won. They won. I was not impressed. They won 1-0 against a 10-man Swansea. Demba Ba scored again for them. Hero twice in a week. And then City in midweek drew to Sunderland. So now, in the driver's seat of the big yellow bus, or maybe it's a big blue bus, is Jose Mourinho. And on the other side, Brendan Rodgers. Collision course for 2 weeks from now. Whoever wins out their schedule, Chelsea or Liverpool, if they can manage to do that. I mean, we're looking at it. We're looking at a situation where one of the other teams is going to win out. They will win the league. Now that's kind of interesting. Liverpool has at Norwich versus Chelsea, at Palace versus Newcastle. Chelsea has versus Sunderland, at Liverpool versus Norwich, at Cardiff. Do you see a certain theme with some of these clubs? Norwich, Palace, Sunderland, and Cardiff are all in the relegation battle. I don't think either one of these teams is going to have an easy 4 games. I mean, of course, they play each other, and that's going to be a big deciding factor. But Norwich is sinking like the Titanic.
Oh, their schedule is like running into a buzzsaw.
Right. So maybe Norwich will be an easy one for both of them. Palace, Tony Pulis, the king of the Orcs, moves to Palace and has figured out they're not even close to the relegation zone anymore. They're in 11th.
Safe.
They're pretty. They're not safe
Ish.
yet. But they're feeling. They're going. Whew, you know, Newcastle. I'm not so sure. They're kind of mid-table-ish. We'll see how the next couple weeks go. They might be in a really bad spot by the last week because that's when they play Liverpool. Now, but at that point, though, depending on how Chelsea does, Liverpool may already have it locked up. You never know. Sunderland just shocked City at the Etihad. They got Chelsea this week. Chelsea also has to play Atletico Madrid, sandwiched in there in between Liverpool, with Liverpool in the middle, I believe. They also have Norwich and Cardiff. Cardiff is, you never know. The last week of the Premier, they got Cardiff. Cardiff maybe is, a point away from getting out of the relegation zone. This is I think this is far from over. I don't even believe that the winner of Chelsea versus Liverpool will definitely determine the winner of the league at this point.
No.
Now, if you had to pick between the two, who would you want to be the winner of the league?
I'm going to say Liverpool.
I was leaning a lot towards Liverpool, and then I started thinking, you know what? Chelsea, United, Arsenal, City, they all had to battle in a bunch of different competitions. Liverpool floundered out of Capital One Cup. The FA, they got semi-deep. Lost to Arsenal. And now they've only had the league. Some of their players have only played 23 times. I mean, Oscar hit 23 in November. I kind of feel like because they've had it too easy in that sense, and I know they're playing outstanding football, I'm almost like they haven't worked hard enough for it. It's strange. It's really weird. I know it sounds odd, but I don't want Chelsea to win it either. So I'm, and Chelsea is for a bevy of other reasons. A whole mountain of other reasons. I almost feel like if they were in Europe, they wouldn't be where they are.
How could you say that though?
Because their squad isn't deep, and they've been relatively well. They had some injuries in the back quite a bit. Their attack has been relatively injury free.
I don't know, man.
It is what it is. They're probably going to win.
Yeah, but
I'd rather, honestly, I wanted City to win it because I felt like I know you have a thing. They're United, the Manchester thing. I'm starting to become
not even that.
I'm starting to become really amoral to the whole money thing because everyone has it, everyone's using it, and it's like, why? What's the point of having the higher ground and losing? You have the moral higher ground. Oh, big deal. We have the moral higher ground. No one's going to remember that you had the moral higher ground. You're just going to remember that you lost. So I'm starting to become more amoral towards that. Like, whatever. And not to mention, I don't particularly find City fans obnoxious. So I find the fans of everybody else really obnoxious.
I don't really know many outward City fans.
Like rah-rah City fans? No, me neither.
Well,
I worked
with
a guy from Manchester, City fan. Nice bloke.
Just general.
What?
Just kind of hanging out. Just a general guy.
Very nice guy. I worked with him.
Yeah.
I worked with him.
Yeah.
Worked with him quite a bit. Really nice guy. Knowledgeable.
Just wore blue.
Knew his history. He let me know when Arsenal lost. Like a regular banter. I don't know. It becomes if you're going to talk about the most complete team, is Liverpool the most complete team?
They have the most lethal system, and they use it every week. So yeah,
I think they definitely have the best. Definitely, 100% have the best attack in the league. And I think that their attack is bailed out their defense. And I know there's stats out there that they've done very well against the top four, but they have not done very well against the minions. The middle of the pack and the bottom of the table. They've let in 3 against Cardiff. So they stepped up, I guess, when they needed to, I suppose. Liverpool's probably going to win it, right?
Yeah.
We'll revisit next week.
I think it's pretty done.
All right. Moving on to the underbelly of the beast. The bottom of the table. Right now, Swansea, West Brom, Norwich, Fulham, Cardiff, and Sunderland are all still shaking in their boots. No one's sure who's going to stay, who's going to go. Like I said before, Palace has kind of pulled themselves out of that heap. Whereas, a few months ago they looked certain to be the anchor of this league.
They're going to West Ham this weekend too. And West Ham, they look kind of strong. It might be a good match actually to watch.
Absolutely. Now
there's 3 points separating them.
Right now, anybody in the bottom half to watch anybody in the bottom half because it's still pretty tight. Mm-hmm. They're all going to be exciting matches.
For jobs. And even the spoilers, they'll be playing spoilers. Look at yesterday, the draw.
Sunderland has a game in hand at 26 points. If they win that game in hand, I don't know who they have it against though. Unfortunately, I don't have that. If they win that game in hand though, they'll be at 29, tied with Cardiff. Both 1 point behind Fulham. Norwich is 2 points above that. West Brom 3 points. Swansea 3 points. Aston Villa 4 points. We'll keep it at that. We'll cap it at that. This is 1 week's results. 1 week's results, and this whole thing flips up and down. You know what I mean?
There's gonna be a lot of shuffling.
I still think Fulham is going to get out of there. And Norwich has looked awful ever since they sacked Houghton. Not sure they're going to be able to regroup in time. I think it was even if they wanted him out, you keep him till the end. Mm-hmm. At this point,
if you're trying to stay up, you can't shake it up like that.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe in December, where you got a transfer window, you could change some stuff.
Even if you can't, even if you don't have a transfer window for your new manager, at least you give them 4 or 5 months to do something. To get something done. Anyway, I'm not sure. The only thing I could say is that I feel that Fulham is not going to be in the bottom. That's my only thing that I feel, pretty sturdy on. The rest of it looks like, who knows? Big news on the domestic front this week.
Expansion.
Big news. The Big Bang Theory. The universe keeps expanding.
Atlanta. Hotlanta.
Hotlanta.
What are they going to call them?
Well, that's a big debate because there is a is it an NASL team? I'm not sure if it's a USL Pro or an NASL team, the Atlanta Silverbacks. It used to be the Ruckus. Bring the
Ruckus.
So Atlanta's been announced officially as MLS 22, number 22.
Where are they going to play?
This is the nice, interesting thing. Well, it's not. I don't know how necessarily nice it is. Atlanta owner Arthur Blank, a.k.a. Arthur Blank Czech, is building a new stadium. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know. He's building the stadium or he's getting some. I don't know the details of this, but there's plans to build a new stadium.
Is the government going to build a stadium?
Well, it's in the South, so you never know. They love that federal money.
Weird how that works down there.
This is very political. It's not. Let's go back to the stadium building.
Anyway,
they're looking to build a retractable dual-purpose stadium, retractable roof dual-purpose stadium for both the Atlanta Falcons and this new MLS franchise. Turf field.
don't know how I feel about that.
The one thing they promised is that there will not be football markings on the soccer field.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
An NFL owner.
That's what he said. You know who he looks like? He looks like the guy from... I'm trying to think now. There's a guy with like a little thin mustache. Looks like a used car salesman. Come right here. I got a perfect Cadillac for you.
John Waters?
Kind of. Looks a little bit like John Waters. No. Okay, so this is the thing. This is the dilemma that I'm having with this. Okay, this is great. They're putting a team in the Southeast. They're obviously trying. They know when you look at the map, you plot all the teams, the existing teams on the map. You go, hey, by the way, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana. Do we have a team in Louisiana? No, Louisiana, Florida. You got nothing there. So then, boom, Bex, Miami, Orlando City is for sure. Atlanta now is for sure. So they're trying to get a little bit. They're trying to get a little bit of that Southeast.
Regionalize it.
Atlanta. They've hosted some international games. The last time that I think they had Mexico play. I think it may have been Mexico versus Nigeria. They had 70,000 people show up. So they think that there is a soccer audience there. They want to go after that soccer audience. Okay, that's great. Atlanta paid a nice franchise fee. I think it was not NYCFC money. I think it was like maybe in the 65, 70 million range, not the $100 million range. And they had a stadium in place, and they believe that they have a fan base in place. Maybe not a full-blown fan base, but maybe they got something. Now, you take a step back and you go, hey, there was more news in the MLS this week. Not the MLS. In MLS. No one kill me.
NYCFC signs with the Yankees, or is it
well,
planning to?
They're going to play in Yankee Stadium for 3 years. Now, Dave, you're a baseball man. Do you think that Major League Baseball and Major League Soccer, you think those two field types, they jive well?
No.
You think Yankee Stadium is going to be cool with tearing up their outfield every other week?
Not that, and nor their infield.
Right, they're going to have to...
ground balls and whatnot. It's going to get torn up. Not to mention the scheduling, 162-game season, which kind of...
81 of them at home.
And MLS starts in March. Baseball starts in April. Baseball ends in October. MLS ends in October.
November. But yeah.
November.
Yeah. Playoffs are in November. It's the regular season ends in October, correct.
Do you think the Yankees are going to move playoffs around for MLS?
No.
No. Do you think it's... and the whole issue with well, for me, and I think we talked about this in the past, is the lack of consistency with scheduling. And you have to be able to put the games in times where people are going to watch it. And a lot of that times, it's going to coincide with the same time that a baseball game is on.
And who's going to get first dibs?
The odd man out is going to be NYCFC. And if this is supposed to be the new flagship franchise in New York, and they're going to be little brother...
So what does this tell you about Major League Soccer? That, one, all the other... Like, for example, Beckham, his team is not an official. They're not an official expansion team. Now they're going to be number 23 if they make it.
Challenged because Royal Caribbean is filing, protesting it and holding the whole thing up now
With the stadium.
Because they want a Harborside Stadium.
Right. So why can't Bex be officially announced as Beckham FC or whatever it's going to be called, Miami Vice FC or whatever? Why can't that be announced officially without a stadium? Why can't Orlando City not be announced? Because Orlando City had an organic fan base, like a true fan base, and they had a stadium. Atlanta now has a stadium. Why do all these other guys have to have stadiums, but NYCFC doesn't? I mean, it just Major League Soccer continues to bend and mend and fold to the bullshit, really. Manchester City and the Yankees come calling, and then you just bend over and say, all right, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know the details. Maybe they've been working on this for a decade. Well, Maybe. Maybe they've been working on this for a decade. And they just said, you know what, we got to announce it finally. I don't necessarily buy that. I think that they basically said, Manchester City said, name your price. And they said, let's just throw a number out there, see what they say. $100 million. Like they pulled a Dr. Evil. You know what I mean? $1 billion. And Manchester City said, that's my toilet paper budget for the year. Okay, no problem.
That's half a well.
Right. So, and they just gave them the money, and now Major League Soccer is dealing with the repercussions of trying to put a stadium in New York City. Well, the reality is, New York City FC, NYCFC is they're badging themselves as the 5 boroughs team, and they're saying the Red Bulls is not really New York. They never cared about New York. They're not catering to New York. But you know what's going to end up happening? They're going to end up putting a stadium in Long Island or Westchester or New York. No, they're not going to put one in New York. It's going to be in Giant Stadium or Meadowlands. They're going to be in MetLife.
Yeah.
And then the joke's going to be on who? Should have let the Cosmos in. At least they would have played at Randall Island.
Hey, they're broadcasting on TV. Do you think you get it? They're broadcasting on Fios.
Well, they were on ESPN3. Had not the Cosmos. They had an NASL Game of the Week, and what channel was it? I know World One Sports had it last year.
Fios One for me it was.
Okay,
it was pretty cool.
Just want a quick shout out on that last little segment. We were kind of semi-planning on talking about it, and then Shay Davies from ATP Radio kind of mentioned, "Hey, talk about ATL." So I made sure that stayed in our outline. Speaking of questions that we got a few more, and we're going to end off with some questions. We got a lot of questions this week from Facebook, which I was really happy with. But unfortunately, we got too many, so we're not going to be able to tackle them all. We saved a few of them. We bookmarked them to talk in later weeks because there's a lot of relevant stuff that can still be talked. 2 or 3 weeks from now.
One kind of leads into the other, so it was kind of a perfect
close. The two that we picked.
And I never got a chance to talk about Manchester and that whole playing against Pep and Bayern and whatnot. So
that's good. Let's do it then.
Yeah. Question from Luis Carlos. Did I do that right?
Yeah, I guess that's not insulting at all.
Will he offend me?
He will offend you every which way. Yes. No. Lou's a good man.
No. I'm just kidding. Did Pep Guardiola nerf the German attack?
Continue.
Making them methodical, taking away the surprise elements. Bayern's attack and creativity stems from a non-German players now. Ribery, Thiago, Robin. Goto was mentioned, but he is German.
Let's part A. Did Pep Guardiola nerf the German attack?
I think he yes, to answer the question, but he made it his system.
He made it his system.
But his system works.
Yes, meaning
the 2-3 or the 2-4-2-4 system.
I mean, essentially, he says he hands you the playbook and he goes, "This is what I'm gonna do. Here you go. I'm letting you know what I'm gonna do."
You could sit.
Well, no, but not even with his players. But I mean, he's letting the opponents know.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna do. Stop us.
You won't.
It's like in Major League, the movie, where he's like, bring the heat, Ricky.
Yeah.
Or the second one, he's basically telling the batter, go ahead, it's coming right down the middle. Let's see if you can stop it. And I think that because now they're less deadly on the counter, it's less about power and strength, which was a big German thing. I think there's some people a little maybe upset about that.
It's just different.
He won the league faster than anyone has ever won the league. Right? I think so, or at least in the recent history. I mean, he won it in some record time. And
it's not like those are terrible players, attacking players. It's just it's not a direct system. Well, it's an indirect system.
I'm not sure if Lou's question here is almost saying, he's saying that Bayern's attack and creativity is stemmed from non-German players. Ribery, Thiago, Robben. I'm not sure. Is Lou kind of is he insinuating that the German player is not creative? Or that Pep has a preference for non-Germans? I'm not sure if that's what he's... Is he intimating that, you know what, I would put a German in there that could do it, but I don't have one?
You can't say that because Thomas Müller is the best German attacking player that Germany has.
Well, he's not very creative, though. Götze is creative. Ozil's creative.
Yeah, but as far as scoring goals...
Yeah, attacking threats is different. Yes, I agree. But this is what he's saying. Yes. Yeah.
Same thing with Schweinsteiger. I mean, he's not a scorer like he used to be, but he's switched roles to more of it's integral to the transition from getting it from the back line and dropping back to defend to getting it front and joining it in and having that thumping power attack end from set pieces. He's not a slouch by any means. He's captain of the German national team. There's a reason. I mean, he's not. I'm not going to say he's at Xavi level, but he's comparably. He's the captain of the national team, center midfielder on the Pep team of the best team of the league of the nation. He's that role,
right?
So I don't know.
I guess what we're saying is that yes, Pep did nerf the German attack, but no. Not in a way that like it's now completely.
And Lahm is integral to that entire attack as well. He's not your traditional right back. He is a very, very creative right back.
Well, now he's playing in the middle.
Exactly. He's a playmaker. So I don't know. I don't think it's an anti-German movement, or he's trying to neuter them or some sort of a slight to them. I just think the other players that you mentioned just so happen to be Ribery, Robben, Thiago are the three most creative players in the world, arguably. So, I'm sorry it's hard for you to say that, but it's easy for me to say they're incredible.
I mean, there's nothing Robben. Robben's only the most one thing in the world for me.
He could be on the Olympic swim team, yes, but he still scores, and
yes, he does. He does. He's a good player. Okay, so Pep is not doing it. If you're the board, Pep, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, Pep stays.
Pep stays.
I want Pep in Manchester United.
Give me some Pep.
Put it that way.
Okay, of course. All right. Next question kind of leads into the kind of plays off the first one, so that's why we picked it. From Danilo da Costa, rumors say that Jurgen Klopp is the next coach to be signed by Barcelona. However, Barca itself has lacked their power this season ever since Pep left. I truly believe it's part of soccer cycle. Every team in Europe has learned how to play against them. Now, this kind of is a little bit related to the whole Pep thing. I give you my playbook. I give you the playbook. This is what I'm going to do. Now stop me. But I think with Barcelona, it's not. There's a missing element.
Well, they have his playbook, but they don't have Pep.
It's what it is, right? They don't have the.
Pep knows how to switch his playbook.
They don't have the cult leader.
He has footnotes and he has note sections in the back of his notes where he has highlights of players that he's seen, so he knows how to adjust his systems.
He handed Tata Martino has the same book.
Here's the Ferrari.
He has the same book, but he doesn't have any of the handwritten notes inside the margin.
Yeah, Pep knew how to build the Ferrari. He knew how to drive the Ferrari, and he knew how to maintain the Ferrari. And then he just gave the Ferrari to it.
Yeah, and then now Tata's just what am I doing?
Like the guy in London. Did you see that video of the Lamborghini?
No.
We'll post it to the site. It was a juicy one.
So wait, let's take a step back. Barcelona. Something is off this season. They're not the same. Lionel Messi in the leg where they lost against.
You mean where he lost the leg?
This is a wet dream.
Oh boy.
No, in the leg against Madrid where he walked the whole time.
They say what was he? He was how many short of the other goalie?
He was about a kilometer less than the goalie.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's bad. I mean, does Messi feel like he's accomplished everything he's going to accomplish? Is he not happy that he's being forced a little bit further wide?
Is he hurt?
Is he still hurt?
Is he hurt and not saying anything, or is he hurt and nursing it so he's not hurt for Argentina?
Oh, saving himself for the World Cup?
Yeah, is he downshifting? You know? Not that it matters. Plus, the newspapers have not made it easy for him in Spain. And Barcelona as a whole. The whole Neymar situation, the whole financial situation, the tax evasion situation.
The fact that they haven't signed a defender in 5 years?
Yeah. The goalies, the sanctions now that they have, the transfer bans.
I mean,
that's huge.
I was asked specifically by my friend Sam not to say it's the end of an era. So I'll call it the end of an epoch. It's the dynasty. I think this dynasty that we know is going to. I'm not saying that Barcelona is going to go pull a. Don't be offended, Manchester United and take a season off. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think they're not going to be. They're not going to be as a dominant force for some time. They're going to struggle. They're going to have to fight. They're going to have to fight harder. They're going to have to fight differently than they have.
I think Manchester's problems are temporary. I really do. I think within 2 seasons, I think they'll be straightened out to where we used to be. Barcelona, these problems seem systemic now with the financial issues, the transfer issue, all that kind of shady back stuff. And now they're, like you said, they don't have the foresight to see that their back line's been dying out. If they want to compete in multiple competitions, the Copa del Rey is the Champions League. You said it yourself. We've all said it. You have to be deep. Carlos Puyol hasn't had knees for 3 years.
And now he's retiring anyway.
And PK, he can't be doing it by himself forever. He barely could be by himself anyway. And now they don't have a goalie, and the transfer window's closed for them.
Well, what they're gonna do is they're gonna keep
whatnot.
They're gonna keep Pinto because he's only 40, and then they're gonna promote some youth guy. They're gonna have to.
And you know what?
Unless I don't think they can sign. I'm not sure. Can they re-sign existing players? Like Valdez said, he's out, and he's got ACL. Even if he wants to play, he may not be okay.
I don't know. It looks good for Madrid and Atletico, though.
Yes. The first part of this question we didn't really address. Jurgen Klopp. Any shot? I mean, is this? I really don't think. I keep hearing Jurgen Klopp's name associated with everybody except for Dortmund, and I don't see him leaving Dortmund personally. Especially with that statement game against a Bayern Munich team, although even it may have been a limp Bayern Munich team.
You know what? How many times? I think he's going to come to a point in his career where he's going to stay in Dortmund, yes. And maybe he wants to win Champions League with Dortmund. Maybe eventually that's his goal. He wants everybody to know that there's another team in Germany. But then again, at a personal level, I'm sure just like Mourinho, just like every other great manager, he wants to eventually end up in a great league. Not that Bundesliga isn't, but he wants to have a resume.
He wants to pull a Mourinho. I want to win a title in all over the place.
Yeah, or maybe he speaks very good English.
So he's going to go to LA Galaxy.
He speaks English well. Yeah.
He does speak that good English.
He'll come to the Red Bulls. No, I don't know. Don't count it out.
I don't think
it's going to be Barcelona.
I mean, I think
I don't think it would be Barcelona.
Who knows, man? There's a lot of money. But whatever. I heard an interview. Did not hear an interview. Excuse me. I read an interview that he had recently given that had been linking him to a big club, and he said, "Wow, that's really cool. That's a big club." He's like, "But you know, I'm here at Dortmund." like, all right, that's an interesting rumor.
That's why Spain, how do you think he would handle the Spanish press?
He would pull, like those madman faces that he does every once in a while.
Yeah.
He's like,
you look at me when I'm talking to you, like a pet. You look at me when I talk to you. That was intense.
Well, Pep had a nice little thing to say. Also, he said it in English, also to the English media, I believe. And he basically said, like, he was referring to Beckenbauer had basically said, like, Bayern Munich has become unwatchable. Like, he can't stand watching them because of the way they play now. Which some people have said about Spain and also Barcelona is they can be at times very lullaby, lull you to sleep a bit. But so he was addressing those comments essentially. He wasn't addressing them like by name, but he was saying like, I came here to do a job, to implement my system, to help out, to win. If the board says they're not happy, handshake, and I move on. So but he didn't say it in like mean spirits. He kind of just said like,
"Is what it is."
It is what it is. They don't like what I like to do. That's cool.
So be it.
I'll go to Arsenal.
All right. So what are you watching this weekend?
Arsenal. What am I not watching this weekend? No, actually, this is actually. I believe if Fulham does a number on Tottenham on Saturday, and Arsenal beat Hull City on Sunday, as well as I think that's it. I think if those two matches occur that way, it might be St. Totteringham's Day. So that's pretty good. That's kind of a cool thing. I think. I'm not sure.
That'd be a nice derby.
I think somebody had told me that.
2 London derbies. Right? Crystal West Ham and Tottenham Fulham.
Yes. But I think the match that might be fun to watch is Everton United. Yeah. Everton United.
That's going to be a crazy game, I think.
Chelsea Sunderland, because Sunderland just pulled a 2-2 on they just drew City.
And it's at Sunderland, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, Sunderland's hard at home. Hard at home. And Chelsea...
Is United at home? Is it Everton at Old Trafford?
I think it is. And Chelsea had a hard time against 10-man Swansea last week, so Sunderland might have a chance to play a little upset. Shuffle up the top a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
We didn't really talk about this, but real quick, 4th, 5th, 6th. Do you think there's much move? I mean, it's not in the bag for anybody.
It's those three, but it's whoever's going to be shuffled up. And
so
down
it's Arsenal, Everton, Tottenham. You don't think United has a chance to regain any ground because
they would top 4?
Yeah, well, United is at 57 with a game in hand. If they win, they'll be at 60. That's even with Tottenham. Everton's at 66. Arsenal's at 67. I do not think. I think it's only between Arsenal and Everton, actually.
Yeah, I don't.
It would require either Everton or Arsenal to really just implode the last 4 weeks, which is not beyond Arsenal this day.
Still an FA Cup.
And there's still the FA Cup.
That's what I'm saying. The wagon's still going down the hill.
What do you mean?
Wheels might come off.
Oh. Yes, I know. It's possible. It's possible.
Chamberlain got injured, right?
What?
Did Chamberlain get injured?
No.
Did he pick up a knock or something too?
No, he didn't play. He didn't play the last match though. He didn't play against Wigan, I don't believe. Or did he? Unfortunately, I was driving in a car watching it on my iPad with some awful hot spot from my phone.
You were an edge. Some spots.
It was awful. It was awful. But I at least got to see the penalty shootout, which you don't need to have the perfect connection to see what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how that went. Oh, but they played on Tuesday. Oh, they played on Tuesday. It was great. Kim Kallstrom, the Swede international. I was very impressed. He was my man of the match. He's a tall guy.
He's a tall fella.
All the photos I saw him, I thought he was 5'9". He's over 6 foot, definitely. He's like a Yaya height.
Yeah, that was Rosicky had a pretty good game. Giroud
he scores with his right.
That was the only thing he did though. He missed a lot of ones before that. I tweeted about it too. Until he scored that goal, he kept toe poking. He was very
It wasn't very good.
It wasn't clinical.
Do you know what I did like though? Him and Podolski swapped positions quite a few times.
Yeah, Podolski's got to be in front of goal.
And Giroud did well. Funny enough, he did well being a little bit further wide.
Supplying.
At least I think maybe it was in the confusion of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
It was great to see Podolski blast in a couple of shots.
When he's got his left foot going, he'll bust it through the net. But those lofted chip through balls Cazorla was putting in were pretty nice. It's a shame none of them connected, but they look like they were eventually. But anyway, follow us on the Twitter, right?
Yeah, Twitter
is the Soccer Yank Dave and
at Soccer Yank Dan. We also have at Soccer Yanks, where you will be fed all the latest from our website, our podcast.
Yeah, subscribe to our podcast or RSS feed, whichever have you.
RSS feeds. SoccerYanks.com.
You got any questions? You want to say anything you want to talk about on the next podcast? Or you see any ridiculously awful... Oh, why would he dive? Why would he do that? Why was the linesman blind? Yeah, just we'll respond to some of those.
Or if you have that same exact sentiment towards either one of us.
Yeah. Why is he breathing so heavy? Should he blow his nose?
Yeah, something like that. Like, why does he keep sliding his beer?
Stop grinding your teeth.
Cheers, everyone.
Have a good one, folks. Enjoy the games.